This video is made possible by the EA Creator Network. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a quick guide on Akimbo for both the P2020 and the Mozambique, as well as the new gun shield generator hop-up. So we're going to talk about all of this, and well, let's just jump into it. Now in this guide, we're going to talk about how to do the Akimbo. It's actually a lot more straightforward than you realize. When you play straight shot, most of the time you actually see the Akimbo standing next to each other. And then looking for them, I thought was going to be a little more difficult to find them, but I actually got some gameplay, and you'll see this just overlaid, just me using the two Mozambiques. And so I have two of them here, and we're going to talk about them. And of course, let's take a look at how the P2020s look. But in this guide, I also kind of want to showcase what they look like when you run around and all that fun stuff. So if we're looking at third person, I kind of look like, I'm like, what am I, Lara Croft? I guess let's take a look at like every legend just walking around. Look at that. That's actually cool. And let's take a look at the Mozambique. That's actually pretty cool. I wanted to showcase what it looks like in third person because I was kind of curious if anybody was actually going to showcase what it looks like in third person in general. That's why I was like, let's just make this into its own little portion of a video. Let's take a look what Gibraltar looks like. Of course, everyone's going to have their own running animation, especially with his arm shield. It's kind of hard to see his him holding the pistol elsewhere, but I thought nonetheless that it would be cool to kind of take a look at. Now, let's kind of get into how more the Akimbo works. Now you've kind of seen it a little bit. Let's take a look at how it really works, and that's the fun part here. So we take a look at that. You grab two of the weapons. You'll notice that the attachments actually count for both, which is actually really cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab hammer point. So when you grab hammer point, it actually applies to both. Let's say you only find one, right? Let's just give an example. You find one of these, you deck it out, and here's going to be the downside, I guess, when you grab a sight, and then you put hammer points. You say, wait a minute, I'm going to grab an extra Mozambique. You'll notice that that gets X'd out right away, but you can still see your HCOG still exists there, just in case you were to drop one of them and then pick one of them back up. Of course, they disappear because you're in the test range, unfortunately, but then you still get your attachments. That's the biggest thing I really wanted to highlight here, is that as long as you pick up the other one, they're shared, see? Now you can ADS them for a little bit of a tighter spread. And they're pretty crazy, I'm not gonna lie. That is insane. And also whenever you do the gold, you see how it reloads too, which is actually pretty nice. Because you go through ammo very quickly with these. Now, unfortunately, you can't do like a pure burst. Now you can hold them down and just keep blasting like this. Just hold down the trigger. And you see the spread there and what that looks like. Boom, 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 boom. And then when you ADS, slightly, I would debate if it was a slightly tighter spread, to be honest. It's almost like more for accuracy, really. Because I mean, it's really for close range, let's be honest. This is really for close range. They're pretty powerful, don't get me wrong. Because it's just pretty much a Mozambique. So if I were to drop one of these, just take a look at it. It's just literally a Mozambique, but just having two of them. You're just increasing pretty much your rate of fire and then putting in more work. I think that's where the beauty really comes in, is just having both as you're moving around. I found myself holding a lot more shotgun ammo just to compensate for it. And at least it shares that. So let's take a look at the P2020 now. Now, same thing. If you have the attachments there, they just disappear, and that's pretty much bye-bye to that. But if you shoot it just at base, it's a really nice rate of fire, you know. They do take a little bit to reload. I did find sometimes pulling the weapon out can kind of take a second, and then reloading can also take a second as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Pull-out animations are kind of clean. There's a reload there. Again, just so you see the damage from a base one. You got 22. Let's go grab another P2020 and shoot at a distance right there. You kind of lose that accuracy, right? I guess more or less the concern, you lose that accuracy a little bit there, but hey, it is what it is. But you gain that rate of fire. And then putting that hammer point is just absolutely devastating. I do wish that you could, I guess, I mean, as accurate as can be. You know, you put a mag on it, gold mag, and then you put the sight to help clean that up. And there you go. That really is how to pretty much akimbo these weapons. Just find them on the ground. It does it automatically. It's so easy and straightforward at that point. More or less what this is just kind of showcasing the damage, how it feels. And it really brings power to the P2020 and the Mozambique for endgame. Because these are pretty devastating to utilize at the end. So let's just take a look at the animations back and forth. So you can kind of see them both. They kind of do like a spinny animation for both. A little bit different every time. I'm sure there'll be some rare animations that are out there, right? Let's go and grab a R99 to kind of switch. So you just kind of get that feel. And you were to switch. It's pretty fast. I just noticed in games sometimes it takes a second, and maybe that was just me switching between weapons a little poorly. So again, that one could have been on me. I think this is pretty cool. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about these. And now what we're going to do is cover the LMG new hop-up, which is called Gun Shield Generator. This creates a gun shield in front of you when aiming down sights, powers up a gun shield when playing as Gibraltar. So this one's really interesting. This one is probably even more interesting playing as a Rampart. And the reason why I say it's more interesting, because it's ADS, take a look at that. You get a gun shield. You literally become budget Gibraltar. So if we use the gun shield, you see that. Now, it blocks also your screen in third person, but you can see over Rampart. And this changes depending on your hitbox size, actually. See how it's different? And if I use Caustic, I'm going to showcase this from the other POV because I recorded this footage. So what we're going to highlight here is how different, depending on the character that you are, on how this looks. So this can block 40 HP. This does have bleed through. So let's say, for example, you are hit by a Kraber, then you'll notice that the health bar just drops immediately down to 125 because the gun shield itself blocked, you know, that 40. So you get from red, you get dropped down to 125 HP. Now, the other interesting part, like I had mentioned, is that every other legend actually has a different shield size. So if you are Wraith and what that looks like and how much smaller your gun shield is. And what's interesting, even with Lifeline, is that you can actually shoot over her head because it doesn't block perfectly, which I guess is more of a balance change because Lifeline's already a really small hitbox, right? Now, the interesting thing is when Gibraltar, I'm going to showcase it in the first person, you'll know that the original hitbox, when you're looking at this, is kind of like that orange shield when looking at an enemy, right? Now, it becomes a gold shield whenever you have it on top of everything. So that adds the additional that we're mentioning. It powers up the gun shield when playing as Gibraltar. This adds a lot of power to Gibraltar mains. I mean, listen, you got to be happy. Finding this LMG and then running up at somebody with a Spitfire with the amount of HP you have and fortified is absolutely going to be devastating against your opponents. And that's why I say if you're playing Rampart, this is pretty exciting. If you're playing Rampart, because then you have the shield, then you have the shield in front of you, and if you're blasting an opponent, you get that extra firepower, and then as a Rampart, guess what? You get the faster reload as well. It takes a lot for somebody to blast you through if you have this. So if you happen to see a Gibraltar, if you happen to see a Rampart, hand them over this attachment. This is so strong for them. I think it's not as strong as, because I faced a few Wraith players because it doesn't block as much. Like we've showcased, I've been overlaying the footage. You see it there. It's not as effective. And because it's not as effective, I think it really goes stronger with the players who are meant to run an LMG. So kind of be selective with it. It does hold a lot of power. If you happen to love LMGs and you play another Legend, that's perfectly fine too. It's just my recommendation of how great it looks and the strength behind it is just fantastic. So those are the hop-ups, and that's Akimbo. This is kind of just showing it off a little bit, giving some perspective. You think that these changes are awesome? Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. We're going to be sure to cover so many of the changes this season and everything that's coming. Check out all the buffs and nerfs in the other video if you're curious about the new map, E-District. I have probably almost near an hour worth of gameplay to showcase for you guys. The map is awesome. I did my best to explore it while playing and then also having some fun exploring. Little secret there, there's Nessie burgers. Yes, those exist on a cart. I'll overlay it right here. But guys, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all in the next one.